Hello everybody, welcome back to another Borderlands 2 video. Today we're going to be doing some assault rifle Gaige build and gameplay. Build I've been wanting to do for a long time. I feel like this is actually just a super fun way to play Gaige. It's super effective, pretty easy to get a Jill of all trades comm. I actually end up, like when I'm leveling up Gaige to get to the OP levels, I end up using the Jill of all trades comm like quite a bit just throughout my normal mode, true vault hunter mode, ultimate, whatever. It's just an easy comm to get. There's a lot of solid assault rifles that are also easy to get, so it's a really strong comm even in game too, because Gaige has some really strong synergy with a lot of different assault rifles. So yeah, we're gonna be going under that, and then something else I wanted to touch on. I'm probably gonna try out doing some like YouTube membership stuff. I think what I'll do initially is just have you get early access to videos with membership, and my other idea that I was going to implement with that is if you're a member, basically the idea would be that I will prioritize the request of members. So if you want to request a build video or something like that within reason, I will get to that before I do other stuff, kind of thing. Really just kind of trying it out. It's not a huge deal to me either way. If people like really don't like the membership stuff or whatever, then I can just like turn it off. Like, this is not exactly my my livelihood or anything like that. Depends on making Borderlands 2 YouTube videos, but I just thought it'd be kind of interesting to try it. And if you want an extra way to support me and get some extra perks, then there you go. But again, not a big deal to me either way. So just let me know how you guys feel about that. But anyway, moving on. Assault rifle Gaige. Here's the gear. Slaga, obviously not an assault rifle, but just using it to slag. Trying to think of an assault rifle we could maybe use here for slagging purposes, but I can't think of many right off the top of my head that you don't see people very often using assault rifles to slag. So yeah, I don't know. Honestly, maybe like the Shreddifier or like something with a lot of projectiles, maybe even like the Lead Storm, just spam it all over the room with Gaige and ricochet and slag everywhere, but it'd be kind of weird and ammo inefficient for sure, especially considering we're already using a bunch of ARs. I don't know if I want to use it for my slag weapon as well. So yeah, but then other than that, we have the Hail, we have the Baruch, and then we have the Shreddifier, and we'll show off some other weapons as well as we go through. The Baruch's a pretty cool one. I really like this weapon on Gaige, especially effective against loaders because of the firing pattern. It ends up critting them pretty easily, on top of the fact that it does have those extra projectiles, which is really good with close enough in the nth degree, so some good synergy there. I've talked about the Hail before at length. This is just like a top tier weapon on Gaige. It just solves like everything that she needs. It does a ton of damage. It has a bunch of extra like unlisted projectiles that benefit a lot from her ricochet. It keeps her healthy with the healing effect of the Moxie weapon. It's basically just like the perfect Gaige weapon. It's super good on her. And I believe the Swift prefix should be fine. I think the one you want to avoid is the Wild one. I sometimes get them mixed up, but basically you don't want the prefix on the Hail that like increases the bullet speed. Fire rate is fine, but the bullet speed makes it kind of harder to control the arc of the weapon, and I believe that is the Wild prefix, so I would generally avoid that one. And then yep, Shreddifier, we've got like the Becca, the Madhouse, a couple other things. This is a legit farmed character, so I don't have every assault rifle that I'd like to show off. The main ones that I'm missing that I would highly recommend would probably be like the Kitten. Is a really good one. The Peak Opener is another really good one. Kerblaster, kind of for similar reasons to the Peak Opener. You just have to be careful using that one because you might kill yourself. Yeah, Kitten, Peak Opener, Kerblaster. There's definitely like some others I'm forgetting. Probably Lead Storm. Some niche scenarios could be good. Kitten, Ogre can also be pretty powerful. Has really good synergy with the fire rate buffs that she gets because the Ogre has such a big mag, so it's really good on her. The Chopper, also a pretty funny weapon on her. I wish I had one on this character to like just try it out and mess around with. The Seeker is also an option. If you have really high anarchy, the Seeker is actually pretty okay on Gaige. Kind of a cheese weapon, but it can work on her pretty alright, so that's also an option. But yeah, I would say those are probably the main ones that I'd recommend using. And then for the other equipment, we do have the Hide of Terra. As you guys probably saw recently, I uploaded a Krieg video where I killed Terra. So I have been farming him a little bit on Krieg, and I've managed to get a couple hides. I do use BL2 fix, so it does increase the drop rate of the hides. Still not a perfect one, but yeah, that is the reason why I've like been able to get one, is because BL2 fix increases like drop rates of super rare items. So yeah, I mean, still a legitimately obtained item, but you know, a little bit easier with BL2 fix for sure. But this one's actually really good. The roid damage on this one's pretty insane. Doesn't have all Malawan parts, but this is very, very good. And then of course we have the improved Jill of all trades comm, assault rifle gun damage, and the mag size. The mag size has such good synergy with the better half. Like, you know, 132% fire rate when our mag is half past empty. That's a lot. Like, we're going to have a huge mag size, so half of our mag size getting that much fire rate is a huge deal, because half our mag size is going to be a big number. So, yeah, very good comm. Buffs the damage of all these assault rifles, and of course the magazine size, plus the better half is just a huge DPS buff, and it's really the reason this is such a good comm on her. Quasar, just kind of here to group them together, make it easier to mob. Corrosive Bone, since we'll be running through Watchburn Refinery. In the build, you can kind of run that hybrid Death Trap build that I showed recently if you guys want. I decided to like go a little bit away from Death Trap here, and also spec out of a lot of the shock skills because we're not really using it. So yeah, we've just got, you know, typical Anarchy. Only difference here is I max out Typecast Iconoclast and then put a point into Integrity for a little bit of extra ricochet value. And then also the reason I went 4 points here with Bloodsoaked Shields instead of the 5 is because of Unstoppable Force. If you're using Unstoppable Force in conjunction with Bloodsoaked Shields, I don't really see a point of putting 5 points into Bloodsoaked unless you're using a specific shield that you constantly need to fully recharge immediately, like Nova Shields or something that you're trying to build around. That makes sense, but otherwise there's no point, because this is instantly going to restore 80%. And then this also is a kill skill, and it's going to regenerate 4% more per second as we get a kill as well. So we're basically going to be full immediately either way. So that's my logic there. If you're not using Unstoppable Force and you're not using Fancy Mathematics, you can go ahead and put 5 there, though, to make that a little bit easier. But yeah, that's the Anarchy tree. Nothing crazy there. Same thing here. Pretty similar to how I'd normally go down this tree. You know, I didn't invest in the shock, like I said, because we're not really using it here. A lot of the skills here are just so bad, you don't really have a lot of choice. More pep for a little bit of extra elemental effect chance. I went this just to give Death Trap a little bit of a buff, but you could also take Myelin if you want a little bit more tankiness, but it is also a pretty bad skill. I mean, maybe not bad, but it's all right. It's all right. It's just all the numbers on these are so low, like 3% shield capacity. What is this? 2% per level, and then 5% for electrocute chance. That's 3% per level here. Everything's just very low numbers, so yeah, it's honestly not a huge deal what you take on this tree. The main point is to get down to make it sparkle. So yeah, I decided to do this, buff Death Trap a little bit. Electrical Burn, just to get a little bit of extra healing from burn dots. Obviously, we're in a corrosive area. Like, we're going to be fighting robots, so it's not going to do a lot. But just generally speaking, it's not a bad idea, because we are using the Quasar, so just applying a bunch of dots at the same time, it has nice synergy with Evil Enchantress, and also keeps us healed if we're using the Hail. So skipped Wires Don't Talk. We're not using shock damage. I've talked about this before too. It's not really a great skill unless you're buffing it pretty substantially. And even then it's not great, but you can at least make it work more of a generalist build if you buff this all the way. Then we have Interspersed Outburst. The slag component of this skill is nice, but as I've mentioned before, I really like it for the damage. If you get up to 5 stacks, it's actually a pretty good amount of burst damage that it's adding to each shot there. So yeah, that's the main reason we take this, and it's just a better option than everything else. And then the main idea here was just to get to make it sparkle, because this really does amp up Death Trap's damage significantly. I talked about this in my Death Trap Gaige video if you want to learn a little bit more about it, but essentially the elemental damage that Death Trap does for Make It Sparkle like exponentially increases his damage. Like, Make It Sparkle is the most important skill for Death Trap to deal damage by a long shot. So really this skill and Robot Rampage and Upshot Robot is all Death Trap needs. Obviously, if you want to invest more to make Death Trap a little bit better, you can, but that's the core function. And of course, sharing is caring. But yeah, the DPS is coming from Make It Sparkle, Robot Rampage, and Upshot Robot. That's pretty much it. Alright. And then, same thing with this tree. I was just trying to get down to sharing is caring, because I want to make sure the Death Trap gets the hide or the black hole, whatever benefits I want to give him. Classic, close enough. 5 points here. You know, we want that ricochet. Obviously, maxing better half to get the maximized fire rate bonus. It's going to be a huge DPS buff. Upshot robot. Again, you know, this is just a huge buff to Death Trap's duration and damage. I went Unstoppable Force here. I just really like this skill, especially if I'm not fully investing into Death Trap. I'll pretty much always take this skill. It's a really nice survivability skill. The extra shield regen and movement speed can also allow you to reposition quickly or, you know, get into a better position to kill. Explosive Clap, I take this usually no matter what, because it is a form of crowd control. It will stun them, so I just like to have it even though it doesn't do a ton of damage. And then to progress the tree, I took a couple points into Cooking Up Trouble and then finished up with 20% cooler. Cooking Up Trouble is not a bad skill though. Gaige does struggle with sustain, so having the skill can be pretty nice. I would say the big issue though with Cooking Up Trouble with a build like this is that our magazine size is so huge that we're not often going to be sitting on a full mag. So we won't get a ton of value out of it, but it is there. So it's not the worst. And the other skills don't really do a lot for us. So that was kind of why I went that way. And then of course, cooldown rate and then sharing is caring to buff Death Trap. So yeah, that's the build. No badass rank. And yeah, we'll go ahead and show off the guns, the gameplay, and all that, and I'll be right back. All right, we are back. Let's go ahead and get started. Summon Death Trap with the hide, and you know, typical with Gaige, you can summon him with a shield and then switch to the one you'd like. So we'll go with the blockade for tankiness, and we'll get started. Oh my god, what gun does this guy have? What the hell? Ow. It's not prepared for that. Okay. Not an amazing start, but we'll be fine. Just get some heals. I'm gonna sit back here. Maybe group them up a little. Nice. There we go. Yeah, a lot of damage there. Got get them all grouped up. Need to break his shield. Oh. Let him blow up. Rook can do some pretty good damage. Probably better to be closer. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I kind of like using the Brook like this, actually. Just, I like not scoping in, I mean. It does a lot of DPS with Gaige that way. Make sure everything's slagged. And you can see when that like better half buff kicks in, it just does so much damage because of the fire rate there. Alright, nice. And we'll keep moving. Probably try out the Shred of Fire here in a second. Actually, probably should have waited to grab that. Oops. Oh well. Alright. We'll just summon Death Trap with the blockade. Doesn't really matter. Oh man, right when I got to the other half of the clip. That's pretty unfortunate actually. Wow. We'll be fine. Oh, okay. I thought he actually dropped another Jill of all trades com or something. But yeah, I should have just used the hail there. I wanted to test the DPS of the Shred of Fire, but kind of needed to tank through it a little bit. And of course, you know, as I've said before with Gaige, I typically don't pre-stack, so we're just going in raw. Obviously, the build, or any Gaige build, is going to be way better if you pre-stack. You know, that's more of a player preference kind of thing, up to you. Personally, just don't love doing it. It's a pain, and oftentimes isn't really necessary. It's to me, it feels like a bit more of a natural gameplay loop to just run through and stack Anarchy as I go. Nice. Yeah, it's going pretty well so far. Honestly, using the blockade is probably a bit better for Death Trap in a context like this where we're not investing a lot of points into him, so the tankiness matters a little bit more. He's just eating all the exploders though as I say that. Poor guy. Alright, we'll pull out the hail. This guy's pretty annoying with the reflection. Oh, what the hell? Okay. Not sure what happened there. Alright. These guys, man, I hate them. Need them to like kind of turn around. There we go. Just shoot him right in the face. All right. Oh. Okay. Try to shred fire a bit. Definitely more of a, like, you know, tanky enemy type weapon. You don't really want to use this on just basic loaders. Kind of need some time to, like, charge up and amp the DPS. But, you know, works pretty well regardless. I would like to try the Becca as well. Unfortunately, like a Heart of the Ancients or something would be good, because I don't have a way of, like, buffing the damage on it with my current weapons, but... Alright, make sure we're healed. I didn't think that would hit me. Are you serious? Well, I'll be fine. Maybe. Nah, we're good. Just kind of running away from me. Oh wow, he's tracking that guy down. Obviously one issue with this, you know, running a bunch of the same weapon type, generally speaking, we're going to run out of ammo. So it's one thing to look out for. Actually, not a terrible Ravager. Try to wait a second before grabbing some ammo, though. I didn't pull the other one. Unfortunate. Let's see. Alright, here comes Death Trap. I think I pulled that guy out of his range. All good, though. I want to try out some different weapons, too, but we're running so low on ammo. The Madhouse would definitely just chew through any ammo we have left. Try to pull them together. Yeah, performing pretty nicely. It's a solid comp. If you like assault rifles, this is definitely one of my favorites with Gaige. It'll clear through no problem. Let's try to grab some ammo now that we're super low. Should be able to get some. Alright, honestly the Becca should still be fine, even though we don't have a proper relic for it. So we could try that out. Still a very ammo efficient weapon. And surprisingly good on Gaige. Mostly just because the ricochet synergizes crazy well with her. Don't need to be like crazy accurate with the Becca to get a lot of value out of it. So Anarchy, as you can see, a ton of damage here. We're not even using proper comm. And these guys are getting on my nerves today. Alright, there we go. Wow, we are getting some horrendous RNG with the ammo drops here. If you have low ammo, it's supposed to be weighted to give you the ammo type that you are missing, but not getting a lot of luck there. Oh, I thought he was slagged. Yeah. The Becca, honestly, just tearing through. It's... I mean, the Becca's pretty much amazing on, like, any character, to be fair, but... yeah, Gaige is no exception. Really, really nice synergy with the Jill of all Trades comm. Very, very solid option here. Probably actually the highest DPS so far that we've seen. It's probably doing the most. Oh, didn't slag him again. Keep thinking I slagged them. Alright, cool. Can refill our ammo. Now we can maybe try the Madhouse a little bit too. It's okay on Gaige. I actually think I like it better on Maya because of phase lock, but I can kind of make it work. We'll give it a little test run. Certainly has some use case, but you know, it's not gonna like absolutely crush or anything by any means, so. Gotta get everything slagged. Can't really see what's going on. Once we kind of get the better half, this will be a lot better, but it has such a big mag size that that's actually going to take forever. Need to heal a little bit. Oh, man, I keep thinking I slagged him, but I'm not. Alright, well, Death Trap did a lot of the work there. I don't really want to get close to him. What is this movement? Stop. Alright, nice. Yeah, as you can see though, moving along here pretty smoothly. Still See how it performs here at the end. Like I said, I really think like the Kitten has awesome synergy with this too, and a couple other weapons that I wish I could showcase here. So definitely keep those in mind if you want to copy this build. I would definitely implement the Kitten, Ogre, and the Peak Opener in particular. I think is actually pretty sick on Gaige too. So, oh shit, just trying to blow that up so I didn't hit myself with it, but kind of had the opposite result there. God, guy had a nasty weapon. Let's see. Extra mag size is super nice with the Becca. Just does so much damage. Such an ammo efficient weapon. Okay, cool. Oh, I don't want to kill myself on that. Summon Death Trap. Kind of just stand back here and chill. Maybe Becca should actually do, yeah, it's doing some crazy damage. Sure, he's slagged again. I really wish Death Trap would like actually attack bigger enemies. He only uses his like laser beam, whatever the hell that is, the shock beam. He only does that against like bigger enemies. It makes him so useless. I'm sure it's like a coding type thing. Like, I don't... Like, it'd probably be pretty difficult to get him to, like, consistently attack a large moving target. Like, raid bosses and stuff, for example, is really what I'm thinking of. Where, man, it'd be a heck of a lot more useful if Death Trap would actually attack them instead of laser beaming them with, like, his horrific damage. But, yeah, unfortunately, we can't have it all, I guess. Alright. Pretty smooth through that area. I think that shows just a pretty good general showcase of the assault rifles on Gaige and what they're capable of. Obviously, lots of options here. It's just, I think it also shows that assault rifles are just super viable in general in this game. I think they generally have a bad reputation, but they're very good. I think especially on Gaige, they're very, very good. They're good on a lot of characters though, so definitely don't count them out. Give them a chance. I'd say, especially if you like Gaige, I think it's some of her best weapons, as a matter of fact. So she has amazing synergy with them with the magazine size buffs and the fire rate buffs from this comm. And, a lot of assault rifles just have good synergy with Anarchy with the way that they ricochet and stuff. So I'd say in general, she's just a great user of these weapons. So yeah, definitely give the build a shot and hope you guys enjoyed. And I will see you next time.